time is now 9 a.m. The date is June the 3rd. We will call to order the meeting for the City of Statesboro, Georgia's Mayor and Council. We will have our invocation and pledge of allegiance by Councilmember Jenny Henry.
Let us pray. Heavenly Father, thank you for this day. Thank you for our city and all of its leaders and residents. Lord, we have just had so much tragedy lately that's happened. I just pray for all the families. I just pray that your spirit will fall and just give healing and comfort, and that we will all come together for good and realize that together we're stronger. We just pray for unity. We pray for peace. We pray for prosperity. And we just bless you and give you all the glory. For us in Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Now pledge.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, we'll go down to agenda item 3, public comments. Leah, do we have any public comments regarding the agenda?
No, Mr. Mayor.
All right, thank you. We'll go down to agenda item 4, which is consideration of a motion to approve the consent agenda for approval of the following minutes: the budget work session minutes, the work session minutes, the council minutes, and executive session minutes for May 13th and May 20th, all respectively. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All right, we want to go down to agenda item 5, which is a public hearing to solicit input on the proposed FY 2026 budget for the City of Statesboro. Is there a motion to open the public hearing?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All right, Mr. Finney, if you will give us an overview of the budget.
Mayor, members of the council, we presented the FY 2026 budget to the mayor and council on May 25th. The objectives of the budget, one, is to continue to retain and recruit exceptional employees. We have an emphasis on our utility infrastructure growth. We also, it is important to continue to grow our tax base and to see an increase in our revenues. And then, obviously, we'll all have an emphasis on public safety. So for the FY 2026 budget highlights, first off, we have a 6% total decrease from FY 2025. Part of that decrease is last year we had about $9 million in ARPA funds. And so those ARPA funds go away and we've been spending them down. So that's part of the reason you see that. It's a significant decrease in our budget. We've seen an 8% general fund increase. But just know we have to present a balanced budget. There are no increase in personnel in any department, but what you are going to see in this budget, we have recommended an increase in convenience fees, water and sewer rates, aid to construction fees, stormwater, gas, solid waste collection, solid waste disposal rates, police, and fire extra duty fees. In all, most of these fees are being increased by 10%. Compensation and benefits highlight, just want to call out to you that the federal inflation rate 2023 was 6%, and in 2024 it was 3.5%. 2025 we're still in that, so right now it's tracking a little bit less than 3%, but still eggs, things that we pay for are still pretty expensive. We do recommend a pay plan adjustment per Condrey and Associates. They prepared our pay plan. And they recommend a 4% pay adjustment to our pay plan. And I called that out to you, and we will repeat it again. We implemented that pay plan in January of 2024. And so it's been 18 months since we've made any adjustments to that pay plan. We also recommend that you continue to pay for performance for employees. Great point is that there's no increase in employee health premiums. Current and future opportunities. Again, we want to continue to position Statesboro for growth in this region, and we're seeing it. We want to grow our downtown city center. We have lots of interest in our downtown, and we want to keep our pay plan up to date. The reason that is important, so we can keep our employees. And we want to continue to advance a creative, inclusive, and professional culture. Revenue trends, what you see is a 7.5% overall increase in general revenue, general fund revenues. And for our budget purposes, we use a 12% property tax digest growth. And basically, that's information that we receive from the tax assessors that we are, with inflation and all, you're seeing about a 12% property tax digest growth. And then our franchise fees remain flat. Again, this is just a chart that shows you our millage rate, and our millage rate is the one that's in the yellow, and that's at 8.65, and the one in the orange is the Board of Education, and the one in the red is Bullock County. So when you look at our millage rate, it's important to know what one mill will come. We're showing you this amount. Bullock County millage rate, I felt I couldn't have read it off that last chart, 11.35. The Board of Education is 7.932, and the city of Statesboro is 8.625. I want to go back to this one. There may be somewhere. In Bullock County, one mill will generate $3.5 million. In the city of Statesboro, one mill will generate $1.1 million. They have a much larger tax base to draw from. Balancing the budget. In order to balance the budget, not recommending a tax increase. However, we had to utilize for next year's budget $928,755 in fund balance in the general fund. And even by using that $900,000, we should be able to maintain our 25% targeted fund balance. That is per city council policy. If for some reason we get into the budget year, because we don't close the budget year until later in the year, and we were to dip below that 25%, Mayor and Council, we would be coming back to you so that you could approve a resolution acknowledging that, because we wouldn't want to have an audit finding that we were in violation of your policy. But at this point, we think we should be okay at 25% target fund balance. Again, these are just fund balance comparisons, and all of our funds are solid. The only one being the fire fund. The fire fund in 2024, there's no fund balance there, and really don't expect one going forward. General fund highlights. It's important to know, and I say this all the time, we don't make any products, but our greatest asset are our employees. And so what the general fund budget does is highlight the fact that almost 65% of the general fund budget is salary and benefits costs. And so in this budget, what you can see is increased expenditures for salaries and benefits. What that does, that recognizes an increase for a 4% pay adjustment, and it also recognizes the pay for performance adjustment. Then we'll see an increase in credit card fees of $70,000, police cloud storage $95,000, police taser contracts another increase of $60,000, and electricity for streetlights an increase of $90,000. And just know, we're not just paying $90,000 for streetlights. That bill is well over $500,000, so that'll be pushing towards $600,000. In the Statesboro Fire Fund, that budget is $8,036,930. Highlights for the coming year: Fire Station 3, you purchased property for Fire Station 3 over on Brandon Street, and we anticipate bringing that online by July 1, 2026. I think in the next meeting or two, we'll be bringing some plans forward for you to see. And then the study of the feasibility of a fire fee is in progress. Mayor and Council, at the next work session, you will be receiving a report from the consultant that's doing that fire fee study. So we look forward to seeing that. Out of the entire budget, the most difficult budget to do this year was the Statesboro Fire Service Fund. The reason that budget was difficult was because of the loss of the fire district tax. We had budgeted $2.3 million. I think we received a little bit more than $2.5 million. And so how do you fill that big hole? And the challenge with filling that hole was either we reduce staff, which would not be acceptable, or we find a way to, or we raise taxes or something like that. So what we recommended doing to you, fortunately, we operate several enterprises. So we recommend doing a loan from the enterprise fund to be repaid over 10 years. And so the water and sewer fund will use $1.8 million, natural gas fund $680,000, and the solid waste collection fund $707,000. But I say this to you, Mayor and Council, for the public, we can only do this one time. We can only do this one time. But fire service is really important. We have a Class 2 fire department, and our citizens expect good service. And so we want to continue to be able to fund that. In the water and sewer fund, you see, again, it's $11.8 million. I'm not going to go through all that, but all of this is what I just went through with all the increases in the fees. What I will highlight to you, in some cases, we have been, for the last two budgets, I think we increased the wastewater fee. We have not been increasing the water fees. And in some cases, we have not increased the water fee since 2012, 2013. That's not really realistic, because in those years, we've had increased costs of services, but we have not been increasing those costs. And so we do recommend those increases. The other thing that's significant in this budget, at your last work session, we had a presentation from Ralph Tellis about recommendation for water and sewer rates. And what we're anticipating is we've been talking about a 4 million gallon a day package plan. And so if we're going to do that, the cost is going to be anywhere from $80 to $100 million. We're going to have to be able to repay that debt out of this fund. And so the increased rates will put us in a position that we can pay $5 to $6 million a year for about 20 years to be able to retire that debt. So we're planning for the future. Again, stormwater fund, $961,000. And we continue to maintain the fund reserve. And so a 10% increase in this fee. Current fee is $5 per month per ERU, so it's $5.50 for residential units. Natural gas fund, again, $6.2 million. We had the increased transfer to the general fund. But again, the gas fund is a solid fund, and the good thing about gas in Statesboro, we don't really depend upon gas as much as in some parts of the country for heating. Gas in Statesboro is used pretty much year round. A lot of companies use it in their operations, in their manufacturing, and so this is a good budget for us. Then solid waste fund, again, is a $5.5 million fund, and again, we increase that fee by 10% as well. Solid waste disposal, $4.6 million, again, 10% increase. And during this year, Mayor and Council, we purchased about 34 acres of land adjacent to our transfer stations because we were getting to a point that we probably had 3 to 4 more years left in that inert landfill. And so now we can look to expand the inert landfill. Again, capital projects, housing rehabilitation project, we use $5 million in ARPA. That project actually helped put us in a strong position to receive the CHIP grant. We also have been able to install sewer installation in unserved areas. I'm not going to try to remember all the areas, but I know Quail Run is one that we're doing right now. Out on Ramble Road is the other one. What was the first one we did, Jason? Fox Lake. And so those are a really good project. So we use $6 million of ARPA funds to do that. And then the other thing is our citizens approved T-SPLOST, so we're able to do enhanced roadways, sidewalks, and intersection projects to improve and accommodate growth in our community. And it's great to see all the improvements going along the city, and the mayor can chase the asphalt trucks.
That's right.
In summary, the city's budget is financially sound. We have strong reserves and continued growth in property values. This budget does not reflect tax base increase from any of the approved new developments. I think that's important for council and for the public to recognize. The mayor and council have approved over 4,500 new housing units. However, this budget doesn't reflect any of that anticipated revenue. Next year, we should see the impact of some of that development. Right now, that 4,500 new housing units, 2,500 of those projects are actually going vertical. And so that will be a significant increase. Well, I'd say significant. It'll be a good increase in our revenue and our tax revenue next year. But we don't anticipate it until we actually see that work start to happen. The general fund, again, we use $900,000 to balance the budget. And in this budget and last year's budget, we were able to use about $1 million in interest earnings to balance the budget. But prior to FY 2023, we were only generating about $25,000 in interest. And so we just issue a little just to be very cautious about using interest because as interest rates go down, that revenue will also decrease. So we don't want to get too comfortable with using interest to balance the budget. In summary, the city must continue to expand the tax base. Voluntary annexations add the tax base. The city has not initiated any annexations, so any of these annexations, because people want to be in the city, developers want to be on our infrastructure, and so that's what we're seeing. And the city, again, I just talked about 4,500 housing units, and we're also seeing new commercial and retail development, and that also helps to grow our tax revenue. Again, today is June 3rd. It's the public hearing. Mayor and council, thank you for the opportunity to present our 2026 budget.
Thank you, Mr. Penny. All right. Is there, we'll move to a portion, is there anyone here to speak for this request? Is there anyone here to speak against this request? All right, seeing that there is none, is there a motion to close this hearing?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All right, is there any discussion by council?
Yes, Mr. Mayor. I want to thank Mr. Penny and the staff. That was a quick but well-organized, easy to understand report summary back on the budget. And two other things I'd just like to highlight. I appreciate the narrative, the language that we're continuing to advance, and creative and inclusive. City of Statesboro is not backing up on diversity, equity, inclusion, and I'm proud to see that stated right up front so everybody's clear on that. And also I want to applaud staff, Cindy, and all the folks who came up with a creative solution to dealing with the loss of the fire district. Borrowing from ourselves. As you said, you can't do it indefinitely, but that was a short-term plan that'll get us through it. So thank you, and thank everybody who contributed to making this happen.
Thank you. Any further discussion by council?
I had a question. I believe the first one, the first slide, maintain the 25% targeted fund balance. What is the fund balance? What percentage is our fund balance for this budget? I know it's going to change.
And Cindy might have to help me. Councilman Riggs, when we were doing the budget last year, we were anticipating that our fund balance was between 25 and 30%. Okay. But just know that over the years, in the past 6 years, that fund balance has been going down because as the general fund has grown, then it takes a little bit higher number to hit that 25% target. But I think it was just about 30% in this year's budget.
In this year's budget, how much is in the general fund? 9 million, 10 million? But now, I'm sorry, the fund budget.
The fund balance?
Fund balance.
I think what we showed last year was about $7.5 million as fund balance for the general fund budget.
Okay, thank you. do have some more questions. That 4,500, new housing units, let's just go with the 2,500 going vertical, you said now, right, or at least this year. So we're hoping it'll just be, not say they'll get done in a week. They'll take it a year to get done. How much value is that gonna add to our tax dollars?
So can I just use, just one example. Over by Georgia Southern, the Charm,
That big 6-story?
that 6-story building, that was the single largest, building permit issued in the history of Statesboro. It was for a $62 million project. I think right now, and Jason pointed this out to me the other day, tax assessor has put a value of about $57 million on that piece of property. And that may hit this year's budget, but it probably wasn't something that we really anticipated. And so next year, if half of that stuff comes on board, we could see somewhere, and I hesitate to say, more than $500,000, but going toward $1 million in revenue increase in the general fund, if all of those things come on board.
The 2,500?
Yes.
And
Yes. So that's why growth is important, because it helps us grow that tax base. And so as our tax base grows, it should, over time, lessen the burden on the rest of the taxpayers. If we're not growing, our costs are going to go up. And so if we have a smaller base to deal with, then those that live in the community will pay a higher price. But as long as we're seeing that growth, we're able to balance that out, and over time, we should see as that value goes up, we should see some decrease for property owners that stay here. And so it's a good place for us to be. But we also have to just say to our citizens that when we see these developments, most of these developments are not going to happen in a year. Most of these developments are anywhere from 5 to 7 years to be able to build these things out. The good thing that we are seeing for the multifamily developments, most of those will happen in the next year. If you go out there by Lovett, right there behind LA Waters, those are apartments. They'll be online next year. If you go out Stockyard Road, Bryant Landings, that's online. If you keep going down and on Stockyard and Miller Street, you got there's a big development there. Those are important to our tax base. If you go out Packing House, the Hartford, you have all the new townhouses that came online this year. And then they've got, it's about 50 acres of land that's single family housing. All of that is tax based. And that's really important to this budget. Thank you.
Any further discussion by council?
Mr. Mayor, I did want to make one more comment. As kind of the cautious elder in the room, I hear you about growth and I understand about tax base, and I'm pleased that the city has processes in place to be sure that folks coming in are paying their way, that we're not just rampant unchecked growth, that that's not the overall objective to keep adding to, that we can be slow and reasoned and try to be careful about it too. And I just want to put that out there, because I am distressed sometimes at how much. I mean, I understand voluntary annexation, but they're wanting to annex to make money, and we still need more houses, but we have to be cautious too. The tax base is going to keep pace, hopefully, but we have to look out for the folks already here and deal with the problems that all this growth is bringing us. So I just want to highlight that staff isn't just looking to add, that we are trying to be cautious and reasonable about it.
And I think change is uncomfortable for everybody, and it's regardless of what we're doing. But I think that we also have to look at the opportunity that it's bringing as well. And I say this all of the time, a city that's not growing is dying. We have to understand that. If your community is not growing, it is absolutely, undoubtedly dying. That's what's happening to it. And I can tell you when I travel to Southwest Georgia and throughout the rest of this state, that these other communities wish they had the opportunities that's being presented in our community. And I am thankful to have the issues that we have, because I get to see what it looks like when a community 20 years ago is filled with dilapidated homes. The poverty rate is out of hand with no hope of jobs coming in. I see these things that I travel throughout the state a tremendous amount. And I talk to other elected officials, other stakeholders, other individuals, and they wish they had the opportunity. I talked to one of my best friends that's from Albany, Georgia. And he said if we just had one of the plants that's coming, that's in your area, our community can see a much bigger difference. Just one. And our county by itself received 3 supplier plants with a mega site 30 minutes from it, which is bringing in these jobs. And I think we need to be clear. The growth that we're seeing that the developers want to connect to is because the city of Statesboro has invested into infrastructure. So we are ready for the growth. We've been preparing for this for a very, very long time. And this is the fruit of that preparation from that time period. And I think that it's something that we have to be astutely aware of. In January of 2018, when we came into this office, the one thing that I said was the biggest issue with our community was its poverty rate. Its poverty rate. The only way you can cut poverty is by providing jobs. And the only way jobs come is if there's growth potential. And so we are fortunate to have seen almost a 30% reduction in poverty, an unemployment rate that when we came in, it was double digits. We had a double-digit unemployment rate in our community, and now it's down to 3%. So I am thankful for where because today is a day that I prayed for. Until you work with these children that's dealing with this poverty rate in our community, and you go to a little boy's house, and he can't come to school because he don't have electricity in his home, that's different. And that's where we work. And so we are making the progress that we need to make. And I recognize that folks are nervous about the change and the transition. And we can't speak for any other governing body. But what I can tell you is that the city of Statesboro is ready. And we've been ready. So we can't speak if other governing bodies are not ready. We cannot speak to them. We can be thought partners with them. But as for the city of Statesboro, we're ready. We've been working to build more homes that's more affordable for folks within our community, and we're seeing great traction with that. So with that being said, I'll turn it back over to Mr. Penny before we.
Mayor, thank you, man. I just wanted to share a couple of things. Jason gave me a text. I appreciate it. And I'm gonna read this text for what he sent it to me. When it goes back to Councilmember Riggs, he says 1,000 homes at $300,000 values generates $1 million in our tax revenue.
Say that one more time.
1,000 homes.
Just text it to me.
That's it.
Thank
you. But the other thing I think is significant, and to Ms. Barr's point, I think it is important to appreciate our citizens, because our citizens have provided us with the tools to be able to handle this growth. With the passage of SPLOST, with the passage of T-SPLOST. But we also have to be good stewards of those resources. And so Ms. Barr, to the point of dealing with the infrastructure, at the next work session, we're actually going to talk about Burkholder. Because the citizens passed T-SPLOST 2 years ago. It would be shameful for us to receive those revenues and not do what we need to do to improve the flow of traffic, so that as people expand, that's what they give us those resources. And so to your point, we want to have really engaged conversation about what that future looks like, and then push us and our staff. And we need to also have the county involved, because a lot of times those roads are not our roads, they're county roads, but we're ready to be willing partners. And when the citizens approved T-Splosh, they approved it for the city and the county. And so we need to work together to improve our community, so that folks don't have to worry about not wanting to get on Burke Halter and come toward the city station.
And that, look what I'm saying, we are prepared, we are ready, to be collaborative partners, during this process. And, I'm thankful, because I can tell you, I've been calling Statesboro home 51 years. And it's a lot better today than it was when I was growing up. It's a lot more to do, for our young people. We would have dreamed about having the parks and Splash in the Borough and all of these other things, downtown concerts, and none of this was occurring in this community. And so we want to celebrate the fortune that we have, and at the same time bring comfort to our citizens, to let them know that we're working diligently to make this as comfortable as possible. With that being said, is there any further discussion from council? All right. With that being said, we're gonna move on. There is no motion on this right here. As this is just a public hearing, we're gonna close it out. We're gonna go down to agenda item 6, which is a public hearing and first reading ordinance 2025-03, ordinance amending the Statesboro Code of Ordinances, section 18-105 regarding professional occupational taxes and attorneys. Is there a motion to open the public hearing?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All right, Kenny, if you give us a little bit of insight.
Mayor and Council, I brought this to y'all at May 20th work session. This is regarding the collection of occupational taxes from attorneys. The way we have it currently is it's considered an unconstitutional condition precedent to the practice of law, so we can't do it. What the revision does is it essentially creates it so that the occupational tax for attorneys is paid in arrears, so we would be able to collect it that way. And this is based off of the state Supreme Court case, Moss v. City of Dunwoody. So I just copied Dunwoody's ordinance that passed muster in that case, and so we would add it to 18105, so we could constitutionally collect from occupational taxes from attorneys.
Okay, thank you. Is there anyone here to speak for this request? Is there anyone here to speak against this request? All right, seeing that there is none, is there a motion to close the hearing?
So moved.
Is there a second? All those in favor?
Aye.
All right, is there any council discussion?
I have a question. You say we can now get them to pay in arrears. Does that mean pay for the previous year,
That's right.
not for the forwarding year?
Right, because if we did it for the following year, it would be considered a condition precedent to the practice of law, and cities are not authorized to do that. So we have to collect it in arrears.
How's law practice compared to a barber?
The State Bar of Georgia is just a different.
But I mean, when we collect our occupational tax, they're considered two different types of entities?
Yeah, I mean,
To me, they're just business.
there's a whole string of case law on collection of occupational taxes from attorneys, and that's the one we've been challenged on.
Probably because it's about attorneys.
So we do recommend this one.
All right, any further discussion from council? Okay. All right. All right, is there a motion to close out?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All right, any further discussion by council? Okay. All right, with that being said, is there a motion to move forward for a second reading?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All right. All right, we'll move down to agenda item 7, which is consideration of a motion to approve resolution 2025-10, a resolution approving the city of Statesboro proposed amendment of the FY 2025 Street Resurfacing Program and authorizing the mayor to execute the local road assistance grant application. The project, capital improvement item is ENG 128. No local matching funds are required. Mr. Penn.
Then, member of the council, annually, we get the LMIG funds, and the state has offered us an opportunity to receive some additional, local road assistance. Grant is it's a little over almost $450,000. But we have to go through this process, and we recommend it to you. What this does for us, it allows us, we've been setting aside about $1 million a year for, out of T-Splosh, and we've been using the LMIG to pair with that. And so with this additional, amount of money, instead of spending $1.3 million on roads, we'll be able to spend almost $2 million, $1.8 million. So we do recommend approval.
Thank you, Mr. Penny. Any discussion by council? All right, seeing that there's none, is there a motion to approve? Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All right, moving on to agenda item 8, consideration of consideration approval of resolution 2025-11, a resolution adopting the maximum tariff rates by towing and storage operators engaged in non-consensual towing. Mr. Penny.
Mayor, member of the council, back in 2017, you approved the use of the state tariff rates for towing. And so what we're recommending to you is that we continue to do that, but the only change is we want to remove 2017 out of it. So as the state changes their rates, our rates would just automatically change.
Okay.
And so our fees and charges manual doesn't get out of date because of the data. So we recommend approval.
All right, thank you, Mr. Penny. Any discussion by council?
So yes, please. So my understanding is if locals have an accident and their car needs to be towed, then if they have a preferred person they deal with, they tell the police officers or they call them. But if they don't have a preferred provider, then the police officer goes down this rotation of folks who complied with these rules and agreed to not charge more than this. And so that everybody local who's on that list gets a turn. Is that basically how it works?
Yes.
Thanks, Chief.
Okay. All right, any further discussion by council? All right, seeing that there's none, is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All right, let's move on to agenda item 9, consideration of a motion to approve the Statesboro Police Department touring rotation and record agreement for fiscal year 2026.
Again, Mayor, member of council, we do this on an annual basis. Then they'll recommend the changes to this. It's just an annual process to approve the towing rotation and record agreement for FY 2026.
All right, thank you, Mr. Penny. Any discussion by council? All right, seeing that there's none, is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, we move on to agenda item 10, which is consideration of a motion to rescind the previous approval of the application submitted by Centurion Property of 111 South LLC, doing business as South Department for funding under the Security Enhancement Incentive Program in the amount of $19,969.50, and to approve an amended application submitted by Centurion Property 111 South LLC, doing business as South Department for funding under the Security Enhancement Program in the amount of $9,969.50, subject to fulfillment of all eligibility requirements. Mr. Pickens.
Mayor, member of the council, again, you approved security enhancement grant. And in this case, one company's got almost $20,000. The company name changes. However, they are, instead of spending the $20,000, they're going to utilize a lesser amount of cameras, but still be able to provide the security enhancement that we need. And in this case, instead of spending $19,000, we only spend $9,000 of city funds to incentivize them to make these improvements. We recommend approval.
All right, thank you, Mr. Penn. All right, we want to open it up for council discussion. Any discussion by council? All right, seeing that there's none, is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Is there a second? All those in favor?
Aye.
All right, let's move on to agenda item 11, consideration of a motion to approve two lease renewal agreements with Georgia Southern University for a one-year term beginning July 1, 2025, and ending June 30th, 2026, for 58 East Main Street and 62 East Main Street. Mr. Penny.
Mayor, members of the council, the Board of Regents just want to exercise their option, be able to continue to lease this space for $1 a year. So we got the front part of the campus and the rear part that we just recently renovated. We do recommend approval of the lease.
All right, thank you, Mr. Penny. Any discussion by council? All right, seeing that there is none, is there a motion to approve?
So moved. Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All right, we move down to agenda item 12, consideration of a motion to approve a contract with Southern Asbestos Abatement Company to conduct asbestos abatement at 31 Love Street. Mr. Penny.
Mayor, members of the council, as part of our code compliance, the property at 31 Lovett Street is an old nursing home. We've been before the courts asking for permission to demolish the property. When we go through the process of demolition, one of the things that we are required to do, we are required to do asbestos testing. And if there's asbestos, before you can demolish the property, you have to mitigate, go in and get all that asbestos out. And in this case, we went through a bid process, and the lowest responsible bid was for this company was in the amount of about $70,000. So we do recommend approval of this contract so that we can move forward with the demolition of this property, so we can help remove an eyesore in this neighborhood.
Thank you, Mr. Penny. Is there any discussion by council?
Appreciate the persistence to make it happen. It has been a health hazard and an eyesore for a while.
Any further discussion? All right, seeing that there is none, is there a motion to approve? Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All right, we'll move on to agenda item 13, which is consideration of a motion to approve a contract with JRD LLC to demolish multiple structures on the city demolition list. Mr. Penny.
Mayor, members of the council, again, as a part of code compliance, we have a contractor that has submitted a bid, and this will include the removal of the property at Lovett, but it also is a whole list of other properties that need to be cleaned up in the city, and we do recommend approval. I do want to just say one thing, Mayor and council. At a previous meeting, and just know, y'all want people to comply with the codes. And one of the properties that we mentioned a couple of meetings ago was down on North Main Street. And big house to the right, beautiful home with a big hole in the roof. So this morning, we're talking about demolition, but I think we also ought to appreciate, to just take a praise break. So that property has been purchased by someone, and you ride by there, that big hole is up still in the roof, but they are working hard to rehabilitate that piece of property. And so it's a beautiful structure that hopefully will live on in Statesboro for years to come. So code compliance also pushes folks not just to tear stuff down, but also to rehabilitate.
Thank you, Mr. Penny.
I'm sorry, just to double check, the house you're talking about, is it the one on North Main in Parish?
Right at the fast pass.
Right, okay, we used to have that old Cadillac sitting there for years and years and years, something Cadillac.
Yeah.
Are they tearing it down?
No.
Because this was on social media this morning, that it was being torn down.
No, this man is repairing, the property actually has changed hands. And after a recent council, it changed hands. Next thing you know, they had lights on, and you go outside there on Saturday, and he's working hard. I mean, he's working hard.
That's good.
Yeah.
Well, like I'm saying, on Facebook this morning, someone said they're tearing it down. Everybody like, oh no, I can't believe they're tearing it down.
He had lift equipment, but I think that's to deal with some of the reef and stuff like that.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Any further discussion by council? All right, Senator, is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All right. We'll move down to agenda item 14, consideration of a motion to approve the purchase of a set of battery-operated vehicle extraction equipment in the amount of $35,450 This purchase will be paid for from 2019 SPOS funds. Mr. Petty.
Mayor, I don't know that I can add anything. This is more helpful to the fire department and is a little bit more agile for our folks when they have to extricate someone from a vehicle that's been damaged in a wreck.
Thank you, Mr. Petty. Any discussion by council?
This is the jaws of life, right?
Yes.
Just electric instead of with a power motor.
Right.
You have to have a CDL to drive this thing? Me and Kenji want to use it. I want to tear something, we want to tear something up.
Okay, we're gonna raise that for you.
Thanks, Jim.
I heard the councilman donate his car for education.
I'll find the car. I'll find the car.
Yeah. All right, with that being said, is there any further discussion by council? Seeing that there is none, is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All right, moving on to agenda item 15, which is consideration of a motion to approve purchase of a new diesel pump in the amount of $59,869.46 from Xylem Dewatering Solutions for use by the Solid Waste Disposal Division at the landfill. This item, SWD-12, is funded by the Solid Waste Disposal Operating Income Revenues. Mr. Petty.
Again, Mayor and Council, I have nothing to add, recommend approval.
All right, thank you. Any discussion by council? All right, seeing that there's none, is there a motion to approve?
So moved. Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All right. We move down to agenda item 16, which is consideration of a motion to approve change order number 1 in the amount of $33,750 with the Atlas Technical Consultants for a hydraulic study of a segment of Little Lots Creek for the West Main Street, Johnson Street, MLK Drive intersection improvements project. This work is funded by T-SPLOST funds. Mr. Petty.
Mayor, not a lot to add. We do recommend this. I just remind you, during, I think it was Tropical Storm Debbie last year, if you were out riding about and you were going on West Main Street, just as you get to West Main and right there to go to Johnson, it was almost impassable. And so that just hollows out for some evaluation so that water will flow and not back up like that. And so this kind of study is what we need to help us to plan and to make sure we're sizing our infrastructure for the right thing. So we do recommend this change.
Thank you, Mr. Petty. All right. Any discussion by council? All right. Seeing that there's none, is there a motion to approve?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All right, we move down to agenda item 17. Consideration of a motion to approve a memorandum of understanding with the Youth Career Commission to provide residential development opportunities to underserved juvenile and young adult citizens in the city of Statesboro. Mr. Petty.
Mayor, members of council, at the last meeting, at the end of the meeting, I asked you about whether you would like to fund this. And so last year, you funded it and you did agree that you wanted to fund it. So we were just bringing the memorandum of understanding that actually the mayor could execute in order to be able to spend the $3,500 with the Youth Career Commission. I think they actually started work yesterday, and so their 2 weeks is already in process. We recommend approval.
All right, thank you, Mr. Petty. Any discussion by council? All right, seeing that there is none, is there a motion to approve? Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All right, we move down to agenda item 18, other business from city council.
Mr. Mayor, I had a question. I wonder if we've got a concert that had to be canceled for bad rain. Is that been rescheduled yet or in the works?
It's been rescheduled for August 21st.
August 21. Thank you. And we got how long before the next Friday?
Next week.
Next week, next Thursday. Okay. Thank you. That's been a great thing for us to offer. Again, I appreciate Ms. Olympia and everybody, city staff, who makes it happen. And I'm hoping, Mr. Petty, you may already have this on your list, so we're going to get an update about the All-American City Competition. Okay, super. Looking forward to hearing that. And you're also going to highlight, I expect, the 2 internal promotions that I'm going to talk about. Thank you. I'm trying to stay in order instead of remembering stuff after your comments. Trying to remember mine in the place where they're supposed to be. Thank you.
No problem.
All right, thank you. Anything else from council? Okay. All right, seeing that there is none, we'll move down to agenda item 19, city manager comments.
Yeah, Mayor, members of the council, let me take care of these two personnel items first. At the last meeting, we recognized, Steve Hodgkiss and Kathy Fields for their retirement. Today, Mayor, members of the council, and to the public, I'm glad that I'm able to announce newly appointed officials. And so this morning, I wanted to just take a moment and recognize Matt Aycock. Matt is the new Director of Public Utilities. Matt is back and back. Matt has been with the city over 26 years, brings a lot of experience with us, and we went through a process, and we're just appreciative to have Matt in-house. And you also remember about 3 years ago, we came to you and told you, just thinking about succession planning, we needed to put in place an assistant. And Matt was the applicant at that time, so it worked out, and it makes our life a lot easier when we have people that are prepared internally. And so this morning, we want to congratulate Matt Aycock. And then the next position is the Director of Planning and Development. And so I want to recognize Justin Williams and Justin, the new Director of Planning and Development. And so now I just have to just tell a little story. So Justin, I'm gonna probably violate your rights. But I think it's worth saying. I'm gonna say it anyway. 6 years ago, when I came to the city of Statesboro, Justin was an employee in the planning department. Justin was recommended for the motion. I asked Jason to review the file. There was no basis for him to be demoted. And so since that time, Justin has taken on more and more responsibility for the city of Statesboro. He's headed our housing rehabilitation program. He's a planning administrator, and been very key to all of the studies that we've been doing. So Justin, I'm just honored. Not any more than Matt, but I'm just saying I'm just proud of you, and just very pleased that I could appoint you as the Director of Planning and Development. So thank you.
Yeah, we have some amazing talent within this team, and it's always great to see when folks from the inside can be able to take on those roles.
Can I ask a question about Aycock? Couldn't he retire now?
No, you cannot.
I'm not saying he could if he wanted to, but he's not.
No, he doesn't have 30 years.
Oh, 30 years, I'm sorry. It's getting close to
He's getting close. Yeah, man, ignore that.
So he's got some work he needs to do before he can talk about that.
Yeah, he's not going anywhere anyway.
Okay. Go ahead.
Did you want to say something about personnel part?
No, I'm just excited for both of them. Both of these are great individuals, so I'm just excited to see both of them advance their careers with us, and that's what it's about.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Mayor, members of the council, in your FYI, there are a number of important things that I just want to call to your attention. One is the I-16 widening memo and that is so critical as we grow and we look at our community and going back and forth to Savannah. That's a critical piece that we encourage our public to be a part of that discussion. Ms. Barr asked about the All-American City effort yesterday. So today we have 22 days before we go to Denver, Colorado to make the case to be an All-American City. And we are all excited about that. And so rehearsals is tonight, Mayor, at 5:30.
Yeah, all that.
Mayor and Tangi. And we're down at the farmer's market, and so we've been working on that script, and so it's been a great team. I tell you, I've had a chance to work with folks that for the 6 years I've been here, I've been in the room with some of these folks, but to actually work with them and see things happen and make the stuff come together, it's been a team effort. And Candace Bikens is here, Edie Grice, they led the application process and still very much involved in all of this. And Becky Sanders at the Convention and Business Bureau, and Jeremy Wilburn with the chamber, my staff, Lane and Olympia and Jason's at the table and LaSar's at the table. So we're meeting twice a week via Zoom just to make sure we got everything in order with the intentions of bringing back the designation of Statesboro as an all-American city. And so the university is a big supporter, and we have sponsors, Georgia Power and the Development Authority of Bullock County, and DSDA, the Chamber of Commerce, don't want to leave anybody out, and Georgia Southern is presenting sponsor, and the city of Statesboro is presenting sponsor. So we are preparing feverishly to bring that back on June 29th is when the announcement will be made. We will provide a link. The actual competition, our competition, is sometime Sunday morning, and it'll be live streamed so you can actually see the mayor and them up on stage. So
No pressure.
no pressure. So we're excited about this competition. I tell you, we have community folks that are going. We're taking 7 youth with us to help make that case, and so we're excited about that. See, in your packet, we also talked about the police department camera. There's an issue with cloud storage, and so just wanted to make you aware because we are, with open records, if we can't store that information, we could have some legal issues going down. So we're working with Motorola, but and we have it budgeted for in the next fiscal year, which is only a month away. But we may have to make some moves a little bit faster. But I just wanted y'all to be aware of that. Mayor and Ms. Shaver's Mars Heights security email. I think it's great. When we have issues in the community, we always hear about it. But when we're seeing great things and we're seeing a team effort between the owner and the police department, and Chief Mike just called them out, and the representative said he got a little worried when he saw that email from Chief Mike about just seeing a change in what's been going on, but the efforts with the cameras and security issues, we think we're getting where we want to be, and so just wanted to call that out. And then we're excited that we've been working on CHIP and CDBG for 6 years now, and finally we made it. A $1.3 million award of CHIP over in the Pine Street area, working with Habitat for Humanity to make 9 folks homeowners. And so we're moving forward with that. So that's a great thing for our city. And I think, Mayor, that's it. Okay, good deal.
Mr. Mayor, I'm sorry, there's one I forgot to ask you. KSBB, we're looking to recruit some more folks for the Keep Statesboro Bullock Beautiful board. So we want to call out that you can look on the city website or Facebook to get the applications. If you're willing to serve, help keep the city of Statesboro clean and green, look in the survey that you got this week to apply.
All right, thank you, Councilwoman Gordon. Mr. Jay.
The mayor and the council, a week ago, Tuesday, we started our Youth Connect program. And so we have some Youth Connect folks in the room, and so I'm gonna put them on the spot. Can y'all come up and introduce yourselves and tell us where you're working? Come on, don't be bashful. Come on. To the mic. To the mic.
Hey, my name is Don Smith. My name is Johnson McDonald, and I work at Public Works,
What school do you go to, son?
Statesboro High School,
What grade?
9th grade, and I'm going to 10th.
Okay.
Hallelujah.
My name is Jalen Newton, and I work for the Planning Development Department. And I'm in 11th grade. I go to State West End.
35 or so students working with us. How many? 35. 38.
Yes.
And Mayor and Council, last year we had to raise our rate of pay. We were paying $7.35, $7.25. And these young folks, some of them making more money at some other places. So we can't pay as much in the private sector, but we're just thankful. We have one young lady that's been with us for 5 years. And so we're excited about what the Youth Connect program is doing. And so we will do our end of the year celebration with Youth Connect on June 25th. Yeah, just before we leave.
Okay. Good deal. That is always great news. And it's always important to invest into our young people. I do want to take a moment of personal privilege to acknowledge the fact that we've had 2 very tragic incidents to occur within our community. We've seen the loss of life of Emily Grace and Landon over the course of the past week. Suffice it to say, I think these deaths of these young people have, with these babies, have really shaken a lot of folks within our community. And I think that this is a great time for our community to continue to rally around these young people. I know tomorrow that there is going to be a breakfast at Longhorns that you can purchase tickets for. And you'll be able to, that funding, to my understanding, 100% of that funding is going to go towards the families of those young people. Emily Grace and Landon, they were 9 and 4 years old, respectively. And you know, my heart, and I'm quite sure the hearts of everyone that's sitting up here, goes out to the families in regards to that. So if we can take a moment out for those families to be able to extend them our prayers, our love, our condolences, and ask for healing for those families. And I know there's no words that can ease that pain. But sometimes it just helps to know that you got a community that's going to surround and support you during that moment. So we want to continue to lift them up in this moment. And I think that, and I want to add this, and I'm going to speak for me. I can't speak for anybody that's up here. I would just hope that they will be in agreement. But for me, this work, the sole purpose of this work for me is about the children in our community, period. It's not about the adults. It's about the children. That's why I've been a huge advocate of investing into young people, because they are the future. A huge advocate of everything from health to literacy to cleaning up our neighborhoods. Dilapidated homes is a public health crisis for young people that live in those neighborhoods. And that's what this work is all about. Us as adults, we should be paving a path so that our young people can go further and longer than what we have. And that's what, for me, that's what this work is about. So with that being said, let's continue to work to build a future that is conducive for happy, healthy children within our neighborhood, but more than that, build a community that is safe for our children. And that means that we have to fight for that safety on all fronts. And that safety starts at home, it starts in our neighborhoods, and it starts in our greater community, all simultaneously. So with that being said, we'll move down to public comments. If there's any public comments from, okay, we got 2. We're gonna let Lynn go, then Marcus go, And, Councilman Jones, did you have your hands up? No. Okay.
Good morning, Mayor and Council. Just two quick points. One is right now there's an election going on and it seems to be flying under everybody's radar. And that is basically a critical election if you care about your utility bills. The Public Service Commission election is currently going on, the primary, so please get out and vote. I was a little dismayed when I got back from Louisville last week and voted, and I was number 21. So please, folks remember to get out and vote. The second thing is we're now 3 days in hurricane season. And as the new vice chair of Bullock VOAD, I was able to attend the National VOAD Conference in Louisville, Kentucky, and we are working diligently, and more announcements will come out soon about what the plans are here for Bullock VOAD. So it's been a pleasure working with that organization and looking forward and working with County EMA and also the Fire Chief Police here. Hopefully we have a much easier season than we had last year. We're still dealing with people from Hurricane Helene.
Thank you. Thank you. I'll hold you on. All right, Marcus.
I wanted to give a shout out to Agape Worship Center for their participation and contribution to this Pine Street project that was mentioned by Mr. Penny. People may not realize that through this grant, they're only getting about, I believe, 24% of their original investment in that land that's being made available to build houses. If you consider that in terms of a financial donation to Habitat, I'm pretty sure, I know it is the case for, since I've been with Habitat, I'm pretty sure that's the biggest single financial donation to Habitat in our history. And so I just want to give a big thank you to Agape Worship Center. I hope to see y'all soon because I plan to come by and thank you in person. But I want to make sure people of Statesboro understood this is a huge contribution to our community. Thank you.
Thank you, Mark. Thank you, Mark. Right. Any other public comments? Okay. I have just been advised by the staff that tomorrow evening at 7 p.m. there will be a visual for Emily Grace in Landon. The visual will be at 7 p.m. at the courthouse. So we want to encourage our community to come out and support these families. Again, 7 p.m. courthouse lawn, right here in downtown Statesboro. So we want to definitely support these families during this moment. With that being said, I want to go down to agenda item 21. Staff, is there a need for executive session?
Mr. Mayor, I couldn't pull up the dates immediately, but the Atrium business on Highway 80 East going out of town is sponsoring a meal following each memorial service for each of the children. So look on Facebook if you want to support that. They're inviting people to bring casseroles, to bring food, and provide a free meal for the families after each service.
I might have to put $20 on that because they don't want me to cook. They don't want me to cook.
I'm sure they'll take your money.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. It's at the
Atrium, just past Four Lakes on the left there, the new glass looking building.
Yeah, it's a nice facility. Yeah. Thank you, Councilwoman Moore. With that being said, we'll move down to agenda item 22. Consideration of a motion to adjourn. Is there a motion to adjourn? Is there a second? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.